Big Brother is no stranger to the occasional spin-off. Over the Top and the Celebrity Trilogy, while not the best Big Brother we've ever had, were fun, exciting, experimental seasons that simply gave us more Big Brother to watch. So imagine the excitement I felt learning that following Big Brother 25, there would be a new winter spin-off featuring legends of Big Brother's past. However, my enthusiasm quickly turned cold once I learned what this spin-off actually was. A 6-episode Christmas special titled Reindeer Games that would stray pretty drastically from the Big Brother format and would instead focus heavily on the competitions. This wasn't what I was hoping for. Quite the opposite, actually. I was pretty bummed out and thought that this spin-off would suck. But, to my surprise, I was completely wrong. Reindeer Games ended up being one of the best Big Brother viewing experiences I have ever had. And one of the reasons for that was the story of the winner. You see, once the cast was revealed and I saw that Nicole Franzel would be playing, I was confused. I mean, yeah, Nicole had proven to be a pretty solid competitor throughout her 3 seasons on the show, but I didn't think she had it in her to go toe-to-toe with some of Big Brother's best competitors. I even had her ranked second to last of who I thought could win this show. But I was wrong. Like the big dumb idiot that I can be sometimes, I didn't follow my own advice, and I underestimated Nicole. I nearly put her as the 9th most likely winner on a cast with 9 people on it, yet she showed that she was the little engine that could, and the skills she possessed that made her such a great Big Brother player transferred over very nicely to this spin-off show. Through her strategic positioning and some well-timed competition wins, Nicole beat the odds once again and came out with her 2nd Big Brother crown. How exactly did she do it? Let's find out. This is the story of how Nicole Franzel won Big Brother Reindeer Games.
Hi, I'm Nicole. This is my first time competing as a mom, and I'm so excited to be here.
If you're new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button, as we are getting closer and closer to 100,000 subscribers. Thanks. Coming into this season, Nicole had quite the Big Brother resume. She was the 7th place finisher of Big Brother 16, the winner of Big Brother 18, and the 3rd place finisher of Big Brother All-Stars 2. In terms of competitions, she had racked up quite a few wins, gathering up 6 HOHs, 3 vetoes, 2 Battle of the Block victories, and 1 battle back win. However, she had also played in the most competitions by far, and her wins were pretty evenly spread out throughout her 3 seasons, so she was never really known as a comp beast, and she was about to enter this game against some of the scariest competitors in the show's history. Now, the cast that Nicole was presented with was a pretty interesting one. As I mentioned, there were only 8 other players, of which Nicole had 3 key pre-existing connections with. However, they weren't all good ones. The first one was with Brittany. Nicole shared that the 2 of them used to be really close friends, but while Nicole was playing on Big Brother 22, Brittany said some not nice things about Nicole on the internet and shared some trusted personal information that Nicole didn't want public, and it hurt her feelings. So she didn't know where the 2 of them would stand going into this.
Last time I was on, she kind of said some mean things about me on the internet, some trusted things that I had told her. It just hurt my feelings.
The second pre-existing connection was with Frankie, and this one is a simple one. They played on Big Brother 16 together, and they were at least on okay terms. Then the last pre-existing connection was the juiciest one, and that was with Cody. Not only did they play together on Big Brother 16, but they also played together on Big Brother 22, where Cody blindsided and betrayed her at the final hour and evicted her in 3rd place. Although they were super close throughout the season, and although Nicole did still vote for him in the end, there was a very real fracture to the relationship. And going into Reindeer Games, that fracture was still there, and they never really smoothed things over.
I see Cody. I haven't spoke to him in 3 years since he evicted me on finale night. I know I just can't trust him this time.
But Connections were connections, and Nicole knew that it would be best for her game to take advantage of her pre-existing bonds and try to work through whatever baggage may wait for her. Luckily, these 3 players felt the same way. Right off the bat, Brittany apologized for what she did, admitting that she was totally in the wrong, and Nicole accepted the apology. With the fence between them now mended, they actually agreed to form an alliance and to work together throughout the game, which was wonderful for Nicole's prospects.
I think it would be best to just directly address it so that we can help each other in this game.
I know you're sorry.
I know that I hurt your feelings.
Yeah. It's a Christmas miracle. Brittany and I mended fences, and we're gonna be working together in this game, I hope.
However, in a show that was promised to be very competition heavy, Nicole needed some competitive firecrackers on her side, which meant that it was time for her to figure out where she really stood with Frankie and Cody. These 2 guys were literally 2 of the best competitors ever, so if Nicole could align with them as well, she could find herself to be in a really good position. But we'll get to that in a little bit. First, let me explain what the format of this spin-off actually is. The format of Reindeer Games was totally different from regular old Big Brother, but at its core, the gameplay still revolved around 2 key aspects: competitions and social strategy. Each round would consist of 3 competitions. The first one was called the Naughty and Nice Challenge, where the winner would not only receive an advantage in the second competition of the day, but they would also get to hand out a disadvantage to any player of their choosing. Then, the players would play in the second competition, which was called the Jingle Bell Brawl. This was the most similar to your standard HOH comp, where the winner, or winners, would largely be involved in determining who would be forced to compete in the third and final competition of the day, Santa's Showdown. Santa's Showdown was basically an elimination game, and whoever placed last in this competition would be eliminated from the show. So, although there were no eviction votes, there was still a lot of strategy and social maneuvering at play, so Nicole had her work cut out for her as this shortened experimental adventure began.
I don't know how you guys are so calm.
Because I'm shutting down. My anxiety is crippling!
The first Naughty and Nice Challenge went underway, where the players had to guess the correct Christmas carol based on a handful of objects. And who better to win it than her new ally, Brittany. Brittany had to dole out this disadvantage to someone, but they didn't really know what the disadvantage was yet. Brittany and Nicole were talking about who they should give it to, and at this point, Nicole reveals to Brittany that Cody and Frankie were super tight in the outside world, and that they were probably the biggest threats in the house.
You and I and the rest of the girls in this house are better together.
Yeah, Frankie and Cody are like this. That's the scary duo. Either one of them could get the disadvantage, and I think that'd be really good for my game.
Now, even though it's kind of questionable for Nicole to be throwing Cody and Frankie to the wolves when they could be valuable connections to her, I do think this is actually the right move. Anything that Nicole could do to separate herself from the other Big Brother 16 players in the eyes of the others was good, because Cody and Frankie were being viewed as the biggest threats, and Nicole being perceived as part of that alliance wouldn't be a good look for her. Plus, she still felt burned by Cody for evicting her in All-Stars, so this was a fun way to enact a little revenge on him. So, Brittany chose to give the disadvantage to Cody, and it was time to compete in the Jingle Bell Brawl.
Cody, on the naughty list.
What?
I'm glad Cody got the disadvantage just because maybe this will level the playing field. Duh.
This competition was a race to be the first one to empty your mailbox of letters for Santa, and there were some funny moments between Nicole and Cody here as they playfully bickered with each other.
Cody is putting his mail into my slot. Cody, I see you.
I see what you're doing, Cody.
I didn't give him permission to do that.
Nobody's gonna be going to.
I heard Cody crash, and I'm not upset about it because that's so mean.
For the most part, though, it seemed that the majority of players were going to go after Frankie and Cody if they were to win this competition. So, of course, it only makes sense that Frankie ended up winning. By winning this competition, Frankie now had the power to pick any 2 players and force them to compete in Santa's Showdown, where the loser of that competition would be eliminated from Reindeer Games. Santa's Showdown was something to be avoided at all costs, so Nicole knew she had to pivot from her initial strategy of targeting Frankie and Cody, and instead, she needed to work her way in with them in order to keep herself safe.
All right, change of plans. I am going to use my Big Brother 16 card.
Nicole joined Frankie and Cody in the bathroom, and the 2 boys immediately told her that she was safe, that she wasn't being thrown into Santa's Showdown, and that they wanted the 3 of them to come together and make a Big Brother 16 trio alliance. Obviously, Nicole said yes to their faces, because this would keep her safe on this side of the house, but she was still ready to backstab them at the first opportunity that made sense for her game. And I applaud Nicole's deviousness in this moment.
Even though I'm targeting them, I do not want Frankie to put me in Santa's Showdown.
Nicole, this to me is special.
Yeah.
Like, I would be very happy to play the reindeer games with you 2 idiots.
So right now I'm just like, yes, we're still all best friends. Nothing says the holidays like backstabbing.
No, Nicole is good. Nicole's like BB16, we're great.
Anyways, Frankie wanted to target big physical threats, so he chose to throw in Xavier and Cameron. At Santa's Showdown, Nicole got to watch as the 2 guys competed, and in the end, Xavier won the competition, and Cameron was eliminated from the show in 9th place.
Unfortunately, that means, Cameron, you are going ho, ho, home.
Daddy's coming home.
This first round went pretty much as well as Nicole could have hoped for. Her and Brittany made up, her and Cody made up, the Big Brother 16 boys were looking to protect Nicole in the coming days, and it didn't really seem like anyone was targeting Nicole. So, going into day 2, Nicole was feeling good.
They're all coming for me. So it's like, you can at least like relax.
Day 2 started with the Naughty and Nice challenge, and Nicole got yet another favorable outcome once her new pretend best friend, Cody, won it. The advantage and disadvantage in the first round was so small and insignificant that I literally didn't even mention it beforehand. But this time, the advantage Cody received was huge. The players were told that this Jingle Bell Brawl would be played in 2 teams of 4, and since Cody won the first challenge, he was able to handpick who would be on his team, and in turn, who would be on the other team. And he could still give a disadvantage to the other team. This was a massive advantage, and the sentiment in the house was that you wanted to be on Cody's team, because obviously Cody was going to stack his team with the best players, meaning that the other squad was going to be filled with the players Cody thought were the weakest competitors. So with all the advantages and good competitors, Cody's team felt almost guaranteed to get the victory. So Nicole really wanted Cody to put her on his team because she knew that this was her best chance at winning safety.
I do have a knot in my stomach, and I just feel like so important that Cody picks me to be on his team.
Luckily for Nicole, Cody was genuine about wanting to work with her, and he did choose Nicole to be on his team.
So my thing is like, I just have like that personal connection with Nicole. And she is good with comps.
Yeah.
The first member of my team is Nicole.
Oh my gosh, Cody picks me. Maybe this just shows that I can trust Cody.
The teams ended up being Cody, Nicole, Frankie, and Xavier, and the other team, aka the team of Misfit Toys, was Taylor, Brittany, Danielle, and Josh. Going into the Jingle Bell Brawl, Nicole could breathe a sigh of relief, knowing that she was on the A team. However, in the upset of the century, Nicole's team lost, and the Misfit Toys won the Jingle Bell Brawl.
On the mat, on the mat, on the mat!
You give me a disadvantage, you put me on a team of people that you think are gonna fail, and I still beat you.
This wasn't good. And then things got way worse. It was then revealed that the winning team wasn't going to select 2 of the losers to compete in Santa's Showdown like last time. No, they had to select 3 of the losers to go down, meaning that just 1 player from Nicole's team would be safe. Nicole's wonderful dream just turned into this terrifying nightmare. She was up next to 3 of Big Brother's most lethal competitors, and if she was forced into Santa's Showdown against any of them, it would be an uphill battle, and she had a good chance of being eliminated. So Nicole went to the 4 winners and gave the best pitch she could think of. She was probably going home if she didn't get saved. When you look at Nicole next to Cody, Frankie, and Xavier, it seemed pretty obvious that Nicole was the least threatening of the bunch, at least in a physical sense, and therefore the smallest threat to the 4 winners when looking at the big picture. If they were to save her this round, then that guaranteed a huge competitor would be eliminated in Santa's showdown. But if you didn't save her and saved any of the 3 guys, then she would more than likely be eliminated and all those big threats would still be in the house.
I don't think I'm a challenge beast at all. If you don't save me, I'm very scared. Why not force a big target out? One of them is going home.
This was a very effective pitch, and it probably helped that Nicole fully believed in everything that she was saying. And it worked. Even though almost all of the players on the winning team were actually in a secret alliance with Xavier, they didn't choose to save him. And instead, they chose to save Nicole.
The person we have all agreed to make safe is Nicole.
Yes, thank you guys so much.
Well, damn.
This was so good for Nicole's game. She dodged a pretty major bullet, and although I do genuinely think that Nicole would have had just as good of a chance at surviving Santa's showdown as the other 3 guys, it's always better to have that 100% safety. And I think Nicole deserves a lot of credit for saving herself here, even if it was the obvious choice. Anyways, this meant that Nicole got to watch as Cody, Frankie, and Xavier were forced to compete in Santa's showdown, and probably the most unexpected outcome happened once Cody lost. Although Nicole initially wanted to target Cody, Nicole realized just how valuable of an asset he was to her game, and seeing him go was tough.
Cody loses a challenge, I'm feeling bummed. And now that he's gone, I feel like I'm gonna have to really step up if I want to stay in this game.
Overall though, Cody was a massive threat to win Reindeer Games if he got anywhere close to the end. So although losing Cody was a small hit to Nicole's game in the short term, this definitely boosted Nicole's overall chances of winning the whole thing.
See you later, Reindeer Games. At least I'm taking home a fruitcake.
Looking at day 2 as a whole, Nicole humorously ended up being the only player to not win a competition this round, which on one hand was a little concerning since competitions played such an important role in how the game is played, but on the other hand, it showed how Nicole was able to use her other strengths in order to survive. So even though Nicole was the only player to not win a competition, she also was the only player who didn't need to win a competition, and that means something.
This feels like Christmas morning and that I got everything on my list because the red team just saved me.
Going into day 3, Nicole was down to just Brittany and Frankie as her allies. I don't really know when or how this officially became a thing, but Nicole, Brittany, and Frankie became sort of a trio alliance, which was good for Nicole because it meant her 2 main allies were fully on the same page with each other.
It definitely makes sense for me to work with Nicole, and I know that Nicole and Brittany are very close. So, the 3 of us need to stay safe so we can stay together in this lodge.
However, with 7 people still in the house, Nicole needed some more numbers in order to give herself the best chance at being safe. Based on how the prior 2 days played out, the 4 women, that being Nicole, Brittany, Taylor, and Danielle, had a quiet understanding that they needed to stick together and get rid of the big guy threats.
The ladies have an understanding that we are going to protect each other.
I do want to work with the girls.
Nicole and I have an understanding, so I'm not going to put her in jeopardy and she won't put me in jeopardy.
It had been working great so far and had kept all of them safe going into the 3rd day, but Nicole had noticed and started to become worried at how much influence it seemed that Danielle had over Xavier. Nicole was worried that Danielle was going to use Xavier to take out her and Brittany, so she and Brittany agreed that they couldn't fully trust Danielle. This is just something to keep in mind as this round plays out.
I'm noticing that Danielle is always with Xavier.
You know that she's doing the whole mastermind thing.
I think that she could use Xavier to take out me and Brittany.
Anyways, just like every day, the round started with the Naughty and Nice challenge, and Taylor ended up winning. However, this didn't really play a factor in this round, so whatever. Going into the Jingle Bell Brawl, it was a solo competition, where the players had to stack these teeny tiny pieces on top of each other in order to create the image of a gingerbread man. Nicole was the only player left in the house that still hadn't won anything, so to win this would be a pretty big personal win on top of keeping herself safe this round. Nicole got to stacking, and after everyone failed over and over and over again, Nicole placed her last piece and started celebrating. But she actually had it wrong.
Are you kidding me?
But in a funny turn of events, she was able to fix her mistake, and then she won it anyways, for real this time.
Yes, for real, I think.
Wait, for real? For real?
This was a huge win for Nicole, and now she was guaranteed safe this round, and she would make it to day 4. However, more importantly, Nicole had power, and she had a huge decision to make. For the Santa Showdown choice, Nicole was told to pick not 2 people, not 3 people, but 1 person. What? Just the one? Well, get ready for the most twisted Santa Showdown yet. Santa Showdown was going to be a solo competition this time around. Nicole would choose 1 player to go in and compete, and they would have 5 minutes and 30 seconds to complete the challenge. If they failed, they were eliminated, and the day would be done. But if they succeeded, then that player would become safe, and they would then get to choose who competed next, but that next person would have 1 less minute to complete the challenge. This cycle would then repeat over and over again until the time limit got too short and someone failed to complete the challenge. Let me just say, Nicole could not have chosen a better Jingle Bell Brawl to win, because pretty much every single other player was shaking in their boots. This was a terrifying gauntlet to participate in, so being able to avoid it entirely was a huge godsend.
Thank goodness I do not have to do this.
Now, Nicole wanted Xavier to go home this round, so you might think that she would just choose to send him in. But if she picked X to go in first, then not only would he get 5.5 minutes to complete the challenge, but if he succeeded, he'd probably send in Frankie or Brittany, the 2 people that Nicole was closest to, and then they'd only have 4.5 minutes to complete the challenge. Nobody knew what the challenge was going to be yet, so Nicole knew that she was going to have to make a game time decision. If she saw the competition and thought that Frankie would be able to complete it, then she would pick Frankie to go first in the hopes that he would succeed, and then he could pick X to play in it, and he'd have less time and hopefully be eliminated. However, if Nicole saw the competition and it looked very tricky, then she'd just throw Xavier in and hope that he'd be eliminated right away. When it was time for Santa Showdown to begin, Nicole finally got to see what the competition was. This giant hamster wheel puzzle of death. After looking at it, Nicole figured that whoever she chose would probably end up succeeding, so she took the risk and sent in one of her closest allies, Frankie.
This has Frankie written all over it.
I am gonna send Frankie into Santa's Showdown.
Now, although this genuinely was a risk, since there was a very real chance that Frankie would lose and be sent home, this definitely was the optimal move for Nicole to make, and I give her props for coming to this conclusion. For what it's worth, Frankie did want to go in first too, so Nicole was able to avoid getting any blood on her hands, and everyone was happy with her. Frankie went into Santa's Showdown, and as expected, he crushed it, finishing with 3 minutes and 11 seconds left on the clock. After Frankie finished, he had a few moments to figure things out and determine who he'd send next. Although his initial instinct was to send in Xavier, Nicole spoke with him and told him that he couldn't. Xavier was gonna complete it in the given time frame, and then he was for sure going to send in Brittany, and she'd only have 3.5 minutes to finish it. So Nicole correctly urged Frankie to talk it over with Brittany and not send in Xavier. Unfortunately, Frankie wanted to play his own game, and he sent Xavier in anyways.
Nicole, it's hard. I can put X in. Because if I don't put him in, then somebody else will.
Those agendas have nothing to do with my game. I have decided to send Xavier to Santa's Showdown.
Xavier actually struggled mightily in the challenge, using nearly the entirety of his 4.5 minutes, but in the end, he did complete the challenge with 14 seconds left to spare.
Let's go!
This sucked for Nicole that the comp beast Xavier was surviving yet another round, and it extra sucked since it felt that this sealed Brittany's fate. Nicole pleaded with Xavier to not send Brittany in, but it was too little too late. Xavier knew what he had to do, and he sent Brittany into Santa's Showdown.
I have decided to send Brittany to Santa's Showdown.
Nicole started sobbing, knowing that the end was near for Brittany. They had rekindled their friendship and were #1 allies in the game, and now she was going home.
She's not in the right headspace.
But then something incredible happened. Brittany, shockingly, killed the challenge, where she not only completed it, but she pretty much did it in the fastest time out of anybody.
Shut up!
Nicole's trio had officially all earned immunity for the round, and they would all be making it to day 4. Practically everybody was shocked that Brittany survived, and now she had all of the power. The trio knew that whoever Brittany sent in next was actually gonna go home this time, and she could choose between Josh, Taylor, and Danielle. Xavier pleaded to Brittany to not send Danielle in, but that was all Brittany needed to hear. It confirmed their fears from the beginning of the day that Danielle had Xavier in her back pocket, and since Xavier was public enemy number 1 for the trio, it was in their best interest to weaken him the best way they could. So Brittany sent Danielle into Santa's showdown, and she failed, becoming the 3rd player eliminated from Reindeer Games.
Did you tell Xavier Brittany's coming after him?
I did not know it has to be Daniel.
Yeah.
I have decided to send Danielle to Santa's showdown.
Yeah, she's gone.
This naughty girl is done. I guess it's time for me to get home for Christmas.
This was the most twisted round of the season yet, but a good one for Nicole. She won the most important Jingle Bell Brawl so far, her trio managed to stay intact, and Danielle, someone who Nicole had her suspicions of, was out of the game. So, going into the halfway point, Nicole was feeling confident.
I'm proud.
It's over!
Coming into day 4, at the final 6, Nicole was still making moves. Now that Danielle was gone, Nicole felt a lot more comfortable with the idea of the women actually working together now. So she and Brittany pulled Taylor in and solidified that it was still in their best interest to work together and to take the boys out before the end of the game. Although Nicole didn't want to actively betray Frankie, she also recognized that Frankie was such a dangerous competitor, and it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if he was eliminated before the end.
I love Frankie, but whatever gets me the best chance at winning the Reindeer Games, I'm good with.
In general, though, having this connection with Taylor was undeniably a good thing for Nicole's game, and the two of them continued to grow their game relationship from this point forward. As for the day, Frankie won this round's Naughty and Nice challenge, and his advantage was that he got to choose who would be his partner in the Jingle Bell Brawl, which would obviously be played in teams of 2 that day. Although at first glance you would think that Frankie would want to pick Nicole or Brittany, Frankie was worried about that. He saw how Cody picking all of his friends for his team on day 2 backfired on him severely, and Frankie was under the assumption that one of the losing duos in the Jingle Bell Brawl would be sent into Santa's showdown and have to face off against each other. So Frankie didn't want to pair up with one of his closest allies and then possibly be forced to face off against them. So he ended up choosing Taylor. This left Nicole, Brittany, Josh, and Xavier without partners, and they were tasked with making teams of 2 on their own. Nicole and Brittany wanted to pair up together because, like I said, everyone was under the assumption that Santa's showdown would force one of the pairs to compete against each other, and Nicole didn't want to be paired up with Xavier or Josh and risk needing to compete against them in an elimination. However, Josh and Xavier were thinking along those same lines, and they also didn't want to be partnered with each other and would much rather be partnered with one of the women. This was a sort of standoff where Josh and Xavier basically refused to partner with each other, and somehow they actually got their way. And Nicole partnered up with Xavier, and Josh partnered up with Brittany.
You two, definitely do not want to be together.
Not really.
Not really, no.
Santa, Nicole, and Xavier are teaming up.
Now, I do think this was kind of a misstep by Nicole, as she and Brittany could have put their feet down and just paired up together if they wanted, but there is some merit to this. Although the idea of facing off against Xavier in Santa's showdown was a pretty scary one, Nicole had a good chance of just winning the Jingle Bell Brawl with Xavier as her partner. Unfortunately, this didn't pan out for her, and Taylor and Frankie ended up winning instead. However, the players were all incorrect with their assumptions on what would happen next. Instead of having the power to pick one pair to face off in Santa's Showdown, Taylor and Frankie would have to select one member from each of the losing pairs and force them to compete. Frankie would select one player from one duo, and Taylor would select one player from the other duo, and the duo that they would choose from would be determined by random draw. Nicole knew that she would be guaranteed safe if Frankie got to choose. But luck wasn't on her side, and instead, Taylor got to choose who to send in between Nicole and Xavier. Now, Nicole had established this game relationship with Taylor, and it felt like the clear and obvious move would be to try and eliminate a massive threat like Xavier anyways. Therefore, Nicole felt that she would be safe in this instance, and she even gave Taylor a very solid pitch as to why she should be kept safe.
If it's a strictly game move, there's no reason she should throw me in a Santa's Showdown.
I don't have the strength Josh is gonna have. Keep me in because you can beat me better.
So, going into the player selection, Nicole was feeling good. However, she was left stunned when Taylor stood up with tears in her eyes and chose to send Nicole into Santa's Showdown.
I've chosen to send Nicole.
What? Why would Taylor keep a huge threat like Xavier in the game and put Nicole at risk of being eliminated? Well, even though Taylor was aligned with Nicole, Taylor was actually secretly aligned with pretty much everyone, and she had been working with Xavier since the beginning of the game. But this isn't why Taylor sent Nicole in. You see, the end of the game was within sight, and Taylor felt that there was one obvious player standing in the way of her winning. Frankie. Frankie had won nearly half the competitions this season, and he was the favorite to take home the crown. So, in order to win the game, Taylor needed Frankie to lose, and the player she felt had the best chance at taking Frankie out was Xavier. So, with that in mind, Taylor kept Xavier safe, sending Nicole into Santa's Showdown in the process. For the first time in this game, Nicole was at risk of being eliminated. Frankie obviously chose Josh to go into Santa's Showdown as well, and the stage was set for Nicole and Josh to go head-to-head. At this point, Nicole was pretty down in the dumps, and she was frustrated that Taylor sent her in, because it really made no sense in her mind why she had to compete in the first place, but Taylor gave her a pep talk and told her that she truly believed she could beat Josh.
It doesn't make sense. I'm just hoping I can get my crap together and show up and perform and just stay.
I know you're not gonna believe me when I say this. You can beat Josh.
Even still, Nicole was downing herself as they walked into the elimination round. The challenge saw Nicole and Josh needing to hang on to their shaking candy canes, with the loser being the first person to fall off. Josh had become known for his long-lasting endurance, so it seemed that Nicole had the odds stacked against her. But as the competition kept going, Nicole kept hanging on. After over an hour, the candy cane started rotating really fast, and at a certain point, Nicole couldn't hold on anymore, and she let go of her candy cane. But not before Josh. In a photo finish that wasn't really a photo finish, Josh fell down roughly 1 second earlier than Nicole, eliminating himself in the process and giving the huge underdog victory to Nicole.
Nicole might be the underdog here, but do not count her out.
This is getting hard.
Hold on tight. Oh my God! Congratulations, Nicole.
Nicole did not seem like the favorite going into this, but she held on tight and beat the odds, giving her a huge confidence boost as she realized she was making it to day 5.
Who would have thunk that I could do that? Not me.
Day 5 was the penultimate round. 5 people left, yet only 4 would move on to the finale. Of the 5 remaining players, Nicole was actually positioned extremely well. Although Taylor did just send her in, Taylor still very much wanted to work with Nicole, and Nicole did a really good job of reassuring Taylor that there was no bad blood so that she didn't think Nicole would be seeking revenge. So, that was one connection Nicole could hopefully rely on here. Then, obviously, Nicole still had her trio of Frankie and Brittany in the game, meaning that Xavier was the only player left standing that Nicole wasn't aligned with in some capacity. So, you'd think Nicole would be targeting Xavier today. And you'd be right. But she was also targeting Frankie. He was just too dangerous to let slide into the finale. So Nicole felt it was absolutely necessary that either Xavier or Frankie be eliminated today. And she teamed up with Taylor and Brittany to try and make it happen.
He's the best competitor here. Xavier or Frankie leaving the lodge today would give me the best chance at winning the reindeer games.
Going into the final Naughty and Nice challenge, Nicole had yet to win one. And she wanted to win it, not just so that she could gain an advantage, but so that she could also give a disadvantage to one of the boys. The competition began, and Nicole sped through the challenge, finishing it in a matter of minutes in super impressive fashion, and winning the power because of it.
Elfie, your special's not canceled. Woo! I won the Naughty and Nice challenge.
I just got started.
After winning, it was revealed to the players that there would actually be 2 Jingle Bell Brawls this round, with the winner of each earning their spot in the Reindeer Games, which was the name given to the finale. Because Nicole won the Naughty and Nice challenge, she was allowed to prevent any one player from competing in the first Jingle Bell Brawl, giving them one less opportunity to win their way into the finale. Luckily for Nicole, this was a super easy decision.
I want to bench Xavier so I can take at least one comp beast out of this Jingle Bell Brawl.
Once the players got to the Jingle Bell Brawl, Nicole chose to bench Xavier, obviously. And then right before the challenge began, the players learned that whoever won the first Jingle Bell Brawl would also earn an additional power that would be revealed afterwards. This challenge was a gross drinking challenge, where they had to guess the mystery ingredient in a bunch of different smoothies, and Nicole humorously gagged throughout the entire competition.
Oh my gosh.
I could have been suffering right there with you, but you benched me.
Even through the retching, Nicole did surprisingly well in the challenge, but not better than Taylor, who ended up winning this first Jingle Bell Brawl and securing the first spot in the Reindeer Games. With her victory, she also got the mystery power, and everyone was shocked to learn that Taylor now had the ability to bring any one player of her choosing with her into the Reindeer Games. Holy crap. Now, Taylor obviously wasn't going to bring Frankie or Xavier because she wanted Frankie out and she knew that Xavier had the best chance of defeating him this round. So her decision came down to Nicole and Brittany. In the end, though, she actually ended up picking Nicole.
The person I choose is Nicole.
Thank you. Oh my God. Thank you so much.
Just like that, Nicole was in the finale, and she didn't even have to win anything in order to get there. Now, the main reason that Taylor picked Nicole over Brittany was because Taylor felt a little bit more confident in her ability to beat Nicole in the Reindeer Games. But I'm sure that the relationship that Nicole had procured with Taylor helped Taylor lock in that decision. Regardless of why she was picked, it really didn't matter. Nicole had made it to the finale episode for the 3rd time in her career, and now it was just a matter of waiting around and seeing who would join her there.
I am safe and I am heading to the Reindeer Games and I am so excited.
Nicole's obvious hope was that Brittany would be able to win one of the remaining 2 competitions and earn her spot in the Reindeer Games too, but alas, it wasn't meant to be. Frankie beat out Xavier and Brittany in the second Jingle Bell Brawl, securing his spot in the finale, and then in the final Santa Showdown, Xavier continued his dominance down in the dirt, and he emerged triumphant, which not only earned him the final spot in the Reindeer Games, but it also eliminated Brittany in the process.
Merry Christmas.
Seeing Brittany go was tough for Nicole, both on a personal level and a game level. The two had grown very close, and Nicole wanted to be at the end with her. But Brittany being in the finale isn't what mattered. What mattered is that Nicole was there. There was just one more day of game to be had, and Nicole needed to be as locked in and focused as ever if she wanted a chance at winning.
Why am I competing against 3 comp beasts? But hey, I'll figure it out.
Xavier, Frankie, Taylor, Nicole. The final 4 players competing in the Reindeer Games. Games, and Nicole was up against some titans. Frankie had won 1 Naughty and Nice challenge, 3 Jingle Bell Brawls, and 2 Santa Showdowns. Taylor had won 3 Jingle Bell Brawls and 1 Naughty and Nice challenge. And Xavier had won 4 Santa's Showdowns. These were some elite competitors, possibly the 3 most dangerous opponents that Nicole could face in this finale. But she was no slouch herself. She had won a Jingle Bell Brawl, a Naughty and Nice challenge, and a Santa Showdown. Plus, Nicole still carried a very important trait that had helped her across her entire Big Brother career: being underestimated. All season long, everyone had been trying to target Frankie and Cody and Xavier, but nobody was ever trying to target Nicole. And who knows, maybe that would be the secret ingredient to help Nicole win again. The way that this finale would work is that there would be one last Naughty and Nice challenge, and then after that, there would be a tournament, starting with 2 head-to-head semifinal matches and ending with 1 final showdown, where the winner of that would be crowned the winner of Reindeer Games. Xavier won the final Naughty and Nice challenge, and his reward was that he not only got to set up the bracket and pick who he faced off against in the semifinal round, but he'd also get a 30-second advantage in his matchup. Nicole knew that Xavier was probably gonna pick her to compete against, as she was the quote-unquote easiest beat. And Nicole was right. When it came time for Xavier to make his decision, he chose to face off against Nicole, finalizing the semifinal matchups as Xavier versus Nicole and Frankie versus Taylor.
He's gonna probably go against me. I'd pick me too.
I have decided to challenge Nicole in the first semifinal matchup.
Xavier, he's bigger than me, stronger than me, faster than me, but I'm hoping for another Christmas miracle.
This was going to be quite the daunting showdown for Nicole. Although she had already proven herself by taking out Josh, Josh was no Xavier. Xavier had gone into 4 showdowns already, and he prevailed all 4 times. So in order for Nicole to move on to the finals, she would need to beat the unbeatable competitor, while he also had a 30-second head start. Nicole was the underdog, but that's when she performs at her best.
Everyone else has tried to take Xavier out of this game, and I guess now it's my turn.
Nicole and Xavier were the first to compete, and their challenge was to be the first to crack the walnut in their nutcracker's mouth, which, in order to do so, they would need to solve a 28-piece gear puzzle. With his head start, Xavier started putting his pieces in the middle and working his way out, but once his 30 seconds were up, Nicole raced in there and tried a different strategy. Instead of throwing pieces all across the board, Nicole started right from the bottom, trial and erroring her way through the puzzle and making sure that every piece moved in unison before she continued on. It was a slightly slower strategy, but a much more methodical one, and it quickly proved to be the correct choice. While Xavier was able to make a lot of progress at the start, he struggled to connect it all together once he had just a few pieces left, giving Nicole ample time to catch up. Before you knew it, Nicole had snaked her way up the board, and with one final adjustment, her puzzle was fully connected. She started cranking and cranking as fast as she could, and her nutcracker chopped down on the walnut, spewing out peppermints and victory.
Congratulations, Nicole!
Oh my gosh, I beat Xavier in a competition. Holy crap!
Nicole had just eliminated Xavier, the king of the showdowns. Taylor was shocked. Frankie was shocked. Nicole was shocked. She was such an underdog going into this, but she prevailed. Nicole was now advancing to the final round, guaranteed to finish in at least 2nd place, and now she could breathe a little bit easier as Taylor and Frankie headed into their semifinal match.
I didn't believe in myself because I'm just like this chubby mom that didn't work out before I came.
We've already had one big upset this finale, so why not add in another? It was a super tight race between the two, But Frankie made a fatal mistake at the very end, allowing Taylor to drive the nail into the coffin, winning the competition herself, eliminating Frankie from the show, and setting the stage for the final showdown to be Nicole versus Taylor.
Nicole will be battling Taylor.
Taylor eliminating Frankie was huge for Nicole's winning chances. The fact that she didn't have to face off against him in the final two felt like quite the blessing. However, she still had to go against Taylor. Taylor was a Kingslayer, and she had been beasting these competitions all season long. So Nicole was once again the underdog going into this final battle. She was going in underestimated, and you know what that means. Now, this final competition was a 3-stage gauntlet. To start, the players would need to build and climb a Christmas tree out of star blocks in order to grab the magical mistletoe. After that, they would need to complete a 3D spinning maze to retrieve the ancient antlers. Lastly, they would need to carefully stack 32 snowflakes on top of a larger snowflake in order to grab the sacred snowflake. The first player to successfully bring back all 3 artifacts and hit the buzzer would be crowned the winner of Reindeer Games. This entire final challenge just screamed Taylor. She was tall, she was athletic, and she was fast. But Nicole was determined to beat the odds one last time and come out with the crown.
She literally competes with her hair down. Okay, I'm gonna throw my bun up and just try to keep up with her. So
Nicole readied herself as best as she could, and then the final competition began.
Go!
The first part of the challenge was tough. The stacking and climbing aspects really tested your speed, balance, and reach, which was something that Taylor clearly excelled in. While Nicole tried building and climbing quickly, she kept falling over backwards, unable to find her balance, whereas Taylor finished really fast and raced off to begin the second part. Not only was Nicole now playing from behind, but she was at a mental disadvantage too. With the way that the comp design was laid out, you couldn't see the part 2 area from part 1, so Nicole had no way of knowing just how far Taylor was progressing. Nicole couldn't think about that though, because she had to focus. She finally made it to the top of her stack, only to find that she wasn't tall enough to reach her mistletoe.
Oh my gosh, it's literally so far away. I'm gonna have to make a jump.
So, before she could think about how scared she was of heights, she looked up and jumped. With the extra height, Nicole was able to snag the mistletoe, and thank God she did, because she actually toppled over her entire stack while jumping. With no time to waste, Nicole hurried over to the second part. Thankfully, Taylor hadn't made too much progress on the 3D maze, so Nicole wasn't that far behind. Nicole made decent work sliding her antlers around, yet she couldn't quite catch up to Taylor, and she had to watch as Taylor finished part 2 and advanced to the final stage. The time pressure was heating up, and if Nicole wanted a chance at winning this thing, she would need to overtake Taylor at the 11th hour.
I'm starting to feel pretty hopeless.
I don't get it. None of them match.
Nicole seemed to be really struggling with this puzzle, but eventually she was able to find the correct alignment, and she moved on to the third and final stage.
Finally freed my antlers!
Once again, Taylor had the advantage. She had already stacked 8 of her 32 pieces, and she had had more time to plan out her strategy. But this was Nicole's chance to finally take over. On the biggest stage, with all the money on the line, a fire erupted within Nicole, and she competed like never before.
All right, Nicole, just stay positive, stay calm, and get to work.
Before you could even blink, Nicole had finished her first 8 pieces and had caught up with Taylor. Then she finished her next 8 pieces, officially overtaking Taylor for the first time in this challenge and moving on to the third set of 8 pieces with a lead. It's at this point, though, that the competition really started showcasing why it was worthy of being the final one of the season. This looked hard. Nicole and Taylor's snowflakes toppled down over and over and over and over again. relegating minutes of progress to nothing but a defeating feeling in their stomachs.
My stat keeps falling over and over again. No! Oh!
Yet Nicole pushed through it, and after what felt like forever, she finished her third set of 8 pieces and moved on to the final bag while Taylor was still working on her third. In a crazy twist of fate, this final bag actually had the smallest and easiest snowflakes to stack. After just a couple of minutes, Nicole placed her 32nd snowflake onto the stack, and it didn't topple over. She quickly grabbed her glowing orb, and with the entire North Pole watching, Nicole Franzel smashed the buzzer, defeating Taylor and crowning herself the winner of the first ever Reindeer Games.
I just won the Reindeer Games.
Congratulations, Nicole!
Oh my gosh!
Nicole's journey throughout Reindeer Games was one of immense intrigue. She started the game not even knowing if she was on Cody and Brittany's good side, but not only was she able to resurrect those relationships, but she was also able to cultivate new ones. She joined Cody and Frankie to make the Big Brother 16 trio, and she teamed up with the women too in order to be insulated and covered on all sides of the house, which you can pinpoint as reasons to why she was safe on day 1, but more importantly, on day 2. Then she had a perfectly timed Jingle Bell Brawl win on day 3 that not only kept her safe, but also led to Frankie and Brittany, her 2 closest allies, being safe as well. Things didn't go her way on day 4, unfortunately, and she did face possible elimination for the first time at that point. But she pulled out the underdog victory over Josh, taking out a pretty big threat and cementing herself as a legitimate contender in the process. Then her relationship with Taylor likely played a part in Taylor bringing her to the finale on day 5, and at this point, Nicole just went superhero mode. She took out the Santa Showdown champion Xavier in the semifinal round, and then she took out the frontrunner Taylor in the final round in order to win the $100,000 prize, as well as her second overall Big Brother crown. Nicole single-handedly took out 3 strong competitors across the final 3 days, and she did so in genuinely impressive fashion. It's not like the other players messed up and Nicole capitalized on their mistakes. No, she legitimately just outperformed all of them, making this victory even more impressive. I underestimated Nicole throughout the entirety of this season, which is exactly what I said people were doing during Big Brother 18. And look where that got us both times. So, it's time for me to eat my own words. Nicole Franzel, the twice underestimated 2-time champion.
I doubted myself, but I'm never doing that again. This really is the merriest time of year.
On somewhat of the same train of thought, I wanted to bring up the complete turnaround that I and many others had on Nicole as a TV presence after this season. I already stated that I was confused when I first saw Nicole on this cast, but I didn't mention the fact that I was also disappointed. I was a tried and true Nicole Franzel hater going into this. Or at least a disliker. Hate's a pretty strong word. You know the saying, you either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain? That's kinda how I felt about Nicole. I loved her on Big Brother 16 and was excited when she first appeared on Big Brother 18. But then she won that season and came back for Big Brother 22 and was a part of an alliance that I didn't like. And then made it all the way to the end again. And along the way, it felt that the initial things that I liked about Nicole just vanished. She wasn't an underdog anymore. She was just winning and doing well. And she did so in a way that didn't excite me as a viewer. And it made me actively root against her by the time she was on Big Brother 22. But then, as soon as Reindeer Games started, everything changed. It was like I was watching Nicole on Big Brother 16 all over again. She was having fun. She was goofy in the diary room. She was laughing at Cody falling over in a way that was endearing. And most of all, she was a true underdog again. I completely turned around on Nicole Franzel this season, and I legitimately cannot believe that I am saying this, but I would happily watch her play Big Brother again.
I saved Christmas! Woo!
At the end of these videos, I like to give the winner a rating out of 10 to capture how I thought they played throughout the course of the season, and even though this isn't really Big Brother, I'm still obviously gonna give her a rating. Nicole did really well at pretty much every facet this season. Her positioning was unreal impressive, her relationship building was fantastic and effective, and her competitive prowess was the best we have ever seen it. While Nicole wasn't necessarily in the driver's seat this season, she had her own alliances and plans in motion, and she won when it mattered the most. I really don't even put the blame on her as for why she was sent into Santa's Showdown in episode 4. So I'm gonna give Nicole a 9.1 out of 10 on the winner scale and call it a day. It's not really that comparable to the other winners because this is an entirely different type of show, but it was still more than impressive enough to warrant a high score. And there we go. Don't ask me how this video about Nicole's 6-episode season is longer than Eddie's video about a 70-episode season. I guess I'm just at the height of my yapping abilities. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. You have all given me a very happy and jolly life these past 3.5 years, and I still haven't fully grasped that there are this many people that actively enjoy watching the videos that I put out. So, thank you. I, of course, need to give that extra special shout out to all of my YouTube members and patrons who I think would have had a much larger impact on this season than Cameron did, because I genuinely forgot he was on this season until I started writing this video. And, as always, here's a clip for you on your way out.
If I can make it to Final 2 again, I could be the first person to win this game twice.
You shouldn't be in here. You already won.
Great, Nicole. Have the most amount of days in Big Brother house and hold on to that because you're not going to be able to hold on to being a 2-time winner.
1 week later.
Nicole, I'm so sorry.
The next Christmas.